All right. Hello, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get started. You should be able to see the College Night 2024. The topic for right now is A to G requirements. So we'll go over that in this Zoom video for you guys. I will try to answer some questions after. And then we can go from there. All of this is being recorded, so it will be posted for you guys. If you want to go back to that, that's totally fine. We will have this on our website, YouTube, things like that. Okay. So just to kind of start out, when you're looking at four-year colleges and wanting your student to attend four-year colleges, they have options between UC campuses and CSU campuses that are in California. Now, with that being said, there are private and out-of-state options that I will end up going over in this PowerPoint. But just for the sake of California schools right now, UC campuses are here on the left, so you can see how those spread across California. There's less UC campuses than there are CSU campuses, and you can see the CSU campuses here on the right. A lot of this information I will kind of go over at the end too, where I talk about which majors are impacted at certain campuses. But generally, this is kind of just a map for you guys to see how they spread out across California. We make sure that students, if they are wanting to go to a four-year, that they have these requirements for these campuses, okay? So what are A to G requirements? So A to G is a sequence of 15 high school courses. So students have to earn a C or better in each of these 15 high school courses. When you look up some of this information, it may seem very confusing. So like I had said, there's more stuff in this PowerPoint that I will go over to kind of lay it out a little bit, hopefully more easy for you guys than if you were to Google it or something like that. But generally the rule is C or better. So C or better in the required courses that I will go over in the next few slides. And then completing these courses is just what makes students minimally eligible for UC and CSU admissions. This is mainly in regards to coursework, things like that. They definitely want to see C's or better. That is minimal requirement that what you would need. However, in the upcoming slides, there's going to be certain GPAs, things like that, that they will need as well when they're applying. So A to G approved courses, we submit courses each year for approval for these approved courses for A to Gs. We go through doorways, and if you were to go to that list, or if you were to even say you see doorways on Google and put in Mountain House High School, you will be able to see all of our approved courses that are UC-CSU approved. This is also linked on our website. Like I mentioned, we will have this PowerPoint and video all on our website as well. So keep that in mind. But again, something that's really easy that you can do is also just Googling UC doorways and putting in Mountain House High School. You'll be able to see all of our approved courses on there. These are classes that have a P or a P plus next to the name on your transcript. So when you're looking at your Mountain House High School transcript, all of the college prep approved courses have a P or a P plus. That plus indicates honors, so you don't really need to super worry about that. But anything with a P generally is the rule for college prep courses. UC GPA is based of college prep courses taken in 10th and 11th grade. It's not the same as what our cumulative GPA would be. So our weighted or unweighted, that is going to be different than what the UCs and CSUs calculate. So I believe Ms. Islami or another counselor had done or is doing a presentation on GPA calculation. But if not, we do have on our website how to calculate your UC or CSU GPA. So if you are interested in wondering what your UC CSU GPA would be, because it will be a little bit different than ours, please go to our website, Counseling Home, College Entrance. You will find that information there. There's PowerPoints, there's tip sheets, all of that stuff for you guys to calculate right from your Mountain House High School transcript. So like I said, we have that information for you guys to calculate, but keep in mind, it's going to be those courses that are 10th and 11th grade. If you have done summer, it would be the summer after 9th to the summer before 12th grade. This is not to say that 12th grade does not matter though, okay? So definitely keep an eye on those 12th grade courses, because those ones, they will get submitted at the beginning of the year. When you apply, colleges know what courses you are taking. Sometimes they will admit you based off of, maybe you're taking some courses that they want to see what the grade is, and maybe if you don't pass, they may rescind applications and acceptances, okay? So it's not to say that those courses that you are in your senior year do not matter, because they do matter. So for a 4-year plan, this is what we generally look at for Mountain House High School. In 9th grade, you can see the classes there, English, Global Studies, and Health for each semester. Math, Science, PE, elective, or elective and a flex. Generally, it is similar when you're going 10, 11, 12th grade. You're going to have English all of those 4 years. For your social studies, you will have world history, US, and then Gov Econ. 12th grade, what happens with Gov Econ is one semester is Gov, one semester is Econ. Math is only required technically for 2 years for high school graduation. So you don't have to, you can kind of see where the math is not highlighted for the 11th and 12th grade. That's because for high school, it's not technically required those years. So take a look at this chart. This chart is also on our website, but I want to get more into the A to G. So requirement comparison chart is what we have here. Kind of what I was talking about before. We have the Mountain House High School graduation, and then we have next to it the A to G eligibility. So if you want to go straight to a 4-year, you want to go to a UC, CSU private out of state that is 4 years for college, you will be looking at that A to G column right there. You'll be able to compare it to what the graduation requirement is. And the graduation requirement, again, is good for if you want to just graduate, you want to go to some sort of trade school, community college, something like that. What you will notice is that a lot of times with the graduation requirement, you will get the A to G eligibility within that. Now, there are some instances, so you can see, like I mentioned, math before. 2 years of math is required for a Mountain House High School graduation. However, you need 3, and 4 is recommended for A to G. Science, you need 2 years for A to G, but 3 is recommended. However, our graduation requirement is that you take 1 year of a life science and 2 years of a physical science. So you'll hit 3 years just by hitting our graduation requirement. Something that some people get confused about when it comes down to A to G requirements is world language and the visual and performing art, okay? So the world language and visual performing art for graduation requirements, you just need to pick one or the other if you're thinking graduation. Now, for A to G eligibility, you need to do 2 years of a world language, and that's the same language, okay? So it's not, you would have to do Spanish 1, Spanish 2 at minimum, or another language 2 years. It's not Spanish 1 and Chinese 1. It has to be the same language for 2 years minimum, and 3 is recommended. And then you will still need to do 1 year of visual or performing art. And we have a ton of those. That would be like our you could use a dance class, you could use digital arts, regular art, ceramics, media art, drama. All of those visual performing arts in our course catalog will count for that 1 year. And then you don't need PE, stuff like that, but that is a graduation requirement, so you will hit it there. This is just another way of looking at it to help with understanding the A to G requirements. 2 years of history required, 4 years of English, math again, so 3 years required, 4 years recommended. Laboratory science, 2 years are required, 3 recommended. Foreign language, 2 years required, 3 recommended. Visual and performing art, you need that 1 year. And then college prep elective, you'll need 1 year as well. So what should you do if you get a D or F in any of the A to G courses? So if you're a student, or if you're a student watching this and you get a D or F in, say, English, an English course that you need for A to G requirement, you can either retake the class over summer school, in which you need to get a C or better. You can retake the class the following year, potentially, if it works with your schedule and if it works with all of the other credits that you need, we can look into that. And then worst case, we just need to kind of discuss options to see if those things do not work. We definitely want to see what does work for you to get you to what your goals are and what you want to do for college. But I would say the main thing is students will take the course over summer again so that they can get a C or better. Some additional requirements. So the UC system, they want a minimum of a 3.0 GPA, okay? Personal insight questions are another big thing for the UC system. There's going to be a presentation on that as well. But what we do have on our website is personal insight question tip sheet. So on our website, if you were to go look at college entrance under counseling, you can see that there's a tip sheet that we have there. All of that information has come from the UC system, specifically UC Davis, but they were speaking on behalf of all of the UCs. They just held the conference. So if you go to that tip sheet, it will give you a lot of advice on those personal insight questions. The UC system basically looks for really well-rounded applicants. They want to know who the person is. Who are you as a person? They can see who you are as a student. They know your transcript. They know where you went to school. They know your GPA. They know everything that you've put in your application, reasonings on why you've gotten lower grades, perhaps. Things like that, they can find out in your application and your transcript. What they can't find out is more personal things about you. So that's really what they want to know in personal insight questions. Just briefly, there's 8 questions to choose from. Your student or yourself will pick 4, about 350 words or less. And yeah, I think that is all I want to say right now about personal insight questions. But again, there is going to be a session on that, and there's also more information on our website about that. So impaction and major do play a role in admission as well. So if the campus that you are going to has the major that you want, but the major is impacted, there's a lower chance that you might get in based off of that major. CSU system is 2.5 minimum GPA. However, we have seen students get in with a 2.0 to 2.49. Depending on the campus, it might be certain campuses, it might be certain majors. Campuses look at all of that stuff. We don't necessarily know exactly what they want. There's obviously supplemental materials that they will want if you have that lower GPA. Or if they need students to come to their school, they might make some exceptions. So that is all up to their admissions departments. Impaction and major also play a role in those campuses. Private and out of state is another big thing. So counselors, we evaluate 4-year eligibility based on A to G requirements only. Okay, so we're able to do that because we know that CSUs want these A to G requirements, and they're able to give us as much information as we can. However, requirements for out of state and private schools are a little bit different, so that kind of stuff varies in terms of SAT, ACT requirements. UC and CSU, they don't need you to take the SAT or ACT to get admitted to their school right now. So that's not something that you would need for that. GPA requirements vary for those private and out of states. And then courses or supplemental application requirements vary as well. So where you wouldn't need letters of recommendation for a UC or CSU, you might need them for out-of-state or private schools. So students are in charge of their own, basically keeping track of all of this stuff when it comes to private or out-of-state colleges, because we just don't have all of the different information from all of these different schools. A to G is a pretty decent guideline to follow when we talk to students, but it's really the student's responsibility to ensure that they're meeting these requirements, just because, like I said, we don't keep track of every private out-of-state situation, so we focus mainly on UCCSU. So this is a little chart that has to do with impacted majors for first-time freshmen. It'll be a little bit different if you transfer, but in terms of first-time freshmen, Bakersfield, Channel Islands, East Bay, Humboldt, and Stanislaus, they're impacted for nursing only. All of this stuff you can also find online if you were to look it up. I don't know that we have this in depth on our website, but if you were to just look up like CSU impacted majors or UC impacted majors, something like this could kind of pop up and you'll be able to see a big chart of it. So for Chico, impacted for nursing and music. For Fresno and San Francisco, they're impacted for nursing and social work. For Northridge, Pomona, Sacramento, San Bernardino, San Marcos, Sonoma, impacted in various majors. Fullerton, Long Beach, Los Angeles, Pomona, San Diego, San Jose, San Luis Obispo, they're impacted for all majors. So that's something you want to keep an eye out if you're going to be applying to those schools. And then Monterey Bay, no campus impaction. Okay, so I'm going to go to the chat right now and see what questions we might have. Wanted to make sure that I saved some time for questions. I know it's a pretty brief PowerPoint, but the A to G requirements are fairly simple to find out. And we have a lot of this. We give presentations to our juniors, to our seniors. We have meetings with them, things like that. So I made it a little bit brief, like I said, so that we can get to some questions. So let's see what we have here. Okay. For language, does it have to be 2 years in high school, or can we use foreign language courses taken in middle school? For example, take Spanish 1 in 8th grade, Spanish 2 in 9th, and it'll be counted as 2-year foreign language. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, only because not necessarily to do with the A to G requirement, but with our school policy for articulating courses. So your student can take language at an outside institution. If they wanted to take it at Delta, they would have to start that language after they start their freshman year. That's the only way that we will sign the CES form for them and articulate it. In addition to that, we will only articulate it If it is a course we do not offer, so if they want to do something like sign language, that's something we do not offer. So we would articulate that course. However, they cannot start any language with us prior to doing it at Delta. So that is all listed on our counseling website under non-MHHS. So that's going to be a big one if you guys are interested in looking at that kind of stuff. Look at the non-MHHS page on our website, and that will help. Can you please share a link for UC GPA calculator? That's going to also be on our website. Once I get to the end of this, I will share some website links. I'm just getting a lot of questions, so I want to answer those questions, and then I'll put some links in the chat for you guys to be able to access, okay? What grades would show for our senior year when we send our applications? Because we have to submit before semester ends. Okay, so basically for senior year, we're going to ask you guys to put every college you want to apply to in Naviance. When you do that, those are the only colleges that we will send transcripts, school profile, all of the documents you need for acceptances to the colleges in Naviance. So if colleges are not there, we will not send to colleges, okay? The grades that will show for your senior year initially, you'll just see the classes because we won't have any senior year grades for you. So colleges will only see the classes that you are in progress for your senior year. Now, mid-year, when we come back from winter break, we send an updated transcript to the colleges in Naviance that you have, and so they will get your first semester grades then. Now, final transcripts. So once you are done with high school, you'll get 2 copies of official transcript when you pick up your diploma a week after you graduate high school, and you guys will send those final transcripts. So the grades that will show for your senior year, you won't really have a grade. They will just see the classes that you are in. Impacted means that basically there's an overload of students in that major. So nursing is super, super popular, as you could see on those slides at a lot of those schools. It's super popular, so it is impacted. So if your student is planning on applying to, say, CSU Stanislaus for their nursing program or something like that, and is impacted, it's going to be harder for them to get into that school based off of that major. If a student gets a D in one of the A to G courses and some courses like Calculus AB doesn't have summer school, then they can still apply for college and will UCCSU accept a grade D. Okay, so what happens with that is the C's or better need to be in the required courses. So in other words, calculus, AP Calc is not going to be necessarily a required course usually. Usually they'll do math 1, 2, and 3 that they need C or better, or get to the level of math 3 or higher, and get a C or better in those courses. If they get a D or an F in AP Calc, like you said, we don't have summer school, so they can still apply to the schools for that. Some students will retake it at Delta or something like that if they want to, but they do not have to do that. It all kind of really just depends. I would say if your student is in that situation, or if you are a student in that situation, just talk to your counselor, confirm that you're okay, but you should be fine. What if a student failed one or both semesters for a subject but made up the credits during summer? Would the first Fs be shown on the transcript and be reflected upon, or would the final scores from summer school be shown? Okay, so for an example of like Math 2 honors. So for that course, we would probably have you take Math 2 over summer, which if you got Fs in Math 2 Honors Semester 1 and Semester 2, you wouldn't necessarily, that wouldn't be taken off your transcript. You would take Math 2 over summer and replace both semesters. They would see both grades, okay? So in this case, it would not remove the Math 2 honors off of your transcript. It wouldn't remove the credit because Math 2 honors and Math 2 are different classes. So you wouldn't have zeroed out credit for that. But they would see that you did remediate that over summer and that you are good to go so long that you got a C or better. Let's say we have 10 colleges in a student's wish list. Does Mountain House High School send transcripts of students to all 10 colleges? Yes. So if you have in Naviance, in the colleges that you're applying to, so say you're a senior, you put 10 colleges and colleges that I'm applying to, we will send to all of those colleges so long that they are in Naviance. We'll send the transcripts, we'll send school profile, any other documentation you need to those colleges so long that they're in Naviance. I'm gonna get some of the links for you guys so that you have that while I wait for a couple more questions. That first link is going to be our college page. So that is where you can find a lot of information on the UC GPA calculator that's embedded in our 4-year tip sheet. So you can find that there. I will also put up our non-MHHS page if you guys are interested in that. So on that first link, you'll be able to find, like I had mentioned, the UC CSU GPA calculator. They'll calculate it the same way. So you'll be able to see that through our 4-year tip sheet that's linked on that first page. And then you'll be able to see the personal insight question tip sheet if you want to look at that. And then that second link is just our non-MHHS page. So I recommend looking at the articulation matrix and things like that. You'll be able to have access to that from that page. Okay. One question was, for language, does it have to be a 2-year high school or can we use foreign language course taken in middle school? For example, take Spanish 1 and 8. Okay, so it has to be basically to make the answer a little bit easier. I would have your student take it in high school. It's not necessarily that we will, it's not guaranteed that we're going to articulate things that they have taken prior to being in 9th grade. Spanish, we will not articulate at all because that is something that we offer. So definitely I recommend taking a look at that second link that I posted. That's our non-MHHS page. Spanish, Chinese, French, we offer those courses. So if your student takes those and they are in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, we're not going to articulate those to our transcript. So keep that in mind. Now, like mentioned before, if they wanted to take something like sign language at Delta, they're free to do that, but they're free to do that after they start their freshman year and so long that they have not started any language with us at Mountain House. Okay. I know it gets a little bit confusing right there, but definitely it is all laid out very detailed on our non-MHHS page. There's steps that your student would have to take certain courses, but world language is very spelled out on that page. But just for reference, all courses that are typically articulated, they need to be started after your student starts their freshman year. So we're not going to articulate things or even sign CES forms for 8th grade right now. So we're not going to articulate Spanish on our transcript if it's taken at another institution because it's a course that we offer. So if we offer the course, they can take it with us. Another thing that we won't do is use outside courses to basically advance in our courses. Um, it's just not something that we do. It's part of our policy for non-MHHS. So we will not put something like Spanish if they take it at Delta or something like that, another institution. That's not something that we will put on our transcript. Even if Spanish is taken at middle school. So if they're in 8th grade and they're taking Spanish somewhere, that's not something that we would put on our transcript. Another thing to note about the A to G requirement for world language, I know we have about, looks like 6 minutes left for this Zoom. For world language and the A to G requirement, if your student does decide, for example, I've been giving sign language as an example for the bulk of this time. If they were to take sign language or something like that at Delta, and sign language is something we don't offer, they haven't started any world language with us. If they want to start it doing sign language at Delta once they start high school and they do all the steps to do so, we can articulate that so long that everything is filled out appropriately. However, they need to keep track with Delta on how many courses they need to take there to meet the 2-year requirement. So we don't necessarily know exactly what courses for certain languages meet the requirement or how many of those courses they need to take. We just won't advise on that because that's where it turns into Delta's courses. Any other questions? Anything like that? When will students get A to G letter? Okay, so for the um, A to G letter, they'll get that in their senior status letter. We send out a junior status letter and then we also send out a senior status letter. Junior status letters actually just went out for our juniors, so they go out in spring semester, end of February-ish for our juniors, and that will say, hey, yes, you're on track for a 2-year or a 4-year. Our seniors get the senior status letter and they get that around September of their senior year. The link to the GPA calculator was the first one that I had posted. So let me see here if I can repost it. I will give you guys our 4-year tip sheet because it is on that. Sure, I can find that for you here. I can copy and paste it. 1 second, and I will give you guys the link that you need. Okay, so that is on the link that I had posted for the first link that I had posted earlier. That link that I had just posted can be found on that web page, but that is a PowerPoint that we have on our website that has the GPA calculator in it. So you'll have to sift through that PowerPoint. It's a 2-year, 4-year PowerPoint, so you'll have to sift through that to get the GPA calculator link. Let's see. If a student has a 3.7 GPA in junior year, and can they catch up and grow to 3.9 in senior? All of that kind of just depends on, what classes they're taking, how many, like if they have flex periods, they don't gain GPA off of those types of classes and what their grades are. So, the best advice I can give for, building GPA would be just to get the best grades that they can get. Definitely don't put too much pressure, because sometimes when students have a lot of these honors AP courses, they might not do as well as they would have maybe a regular course because they're super stressed out. But the best is the best they can do. So we definitely encourage, you want a stronger GPA, try to get the best grades that you can get. I recommend that if your student is wanting to apply to certain colleges, they apply if they meet the minimum requirements, just because you really never know. Colleges, especially UCs, those are super, super competitive. But you really just never know, especially if they're turning in some really strong personal insight questions. But we go over a lot of this stuff with them, their junior and senior year. Their senior year, we have those individual meetings with them. So we also have success sessions that go over all of that stuff. If they have any additional questions, we help them with that. So they will be getting a lot of support between junior and senior year for all of this college stuff. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting because we have about 30 seconds left that it is allowing me on here. But I want to thank you guys for coming. Like I said, a lot of the links are on our website. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. But again, we will give your students all of the support that they can need. If they have any questions, they're welcome to reach out. But thank you guys for coming. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Bye.